may the future Notre-Dame remain forever true to the spirit of those mysteries. Introduction. This book has risen from the ashes of the 15 April 2019 fire at Notre-Dame de Paris. On that fateful night, the world was gripped by images of the cathedral engulfed in flames. No one imagined that a building on fire could spark such interest and mesmerize global audiences for days on end. The French nation went into mass mourning on a scale that took everyone by surprise. Why? What did this building represent to the French and to the world? In due course, statements by international leaders, not least French President Emmanuel Macron himself, would suggest that the cathedral somehow encapsulated French nationhood. All of France was burning in sympathy. In a country where statistics show that before the fire, only 5% of the population was church-going, and 47% described themselves as non-practicing Catholics, what could explain such an outpouring? Part of it, without doubt, was a reaction. France has a long tradition of laïcité, secularism, that began with its revolution in 1789, and its constitution today guarantees that all citizens, regardless of their origin, race or religion, are treated as equals before the law. But the 21st century brought unforeseen challenges. During Europe's migration crisis in 2015, France found itself overwhelmed with Arab and African refugees, most of whom were Muslim. Later that year, the streets of Paris were convulsed by a series of terrorist attacks inspired by the extremism of Islamic State. In response to these upheavals and the perceived threat of Islam, many sought to revive a Christian national identity. Now, the French were in danger of losing this magnificent treasure at the heart of their capital city, the very symbol of their Catholic faith. The non-church-going mayor of Paris said she was convinced the cathedral had been saved from collapse by the power of prayer. After the fire, church attendance soared, and the number of pilgrims walking between Notre-Dame and Chartres, especially the young, reached new heights. France, that most secular of countries, where even wearing a crucifix to work is not allowed, is having a religious renaissance, a spiritual awakening. But what if that very building itself, that intricate Gothic style so deeply associated with Catholicism in Europe, was, in fact, inspired by Islamic architecture, brought into Europe centuries earlier? How would people feel about that? The answer soon became clear after I put out a tweet the morning after the fire. Notre-Dame's architectural design, like all Gothic cathedrals in Europe, comes directly from #Syria's Kalb Laze, 5th century church. Crusaders brought the twin tower flanking the rose window concept back to Europe in the 12th century. It's in #Idlib province, still standing. The reaction within a matter of minutes was staggering. Realizing the tweet had struck a nerve, I decided to explain more in a blog on my website that same morning. I called it The Heritage of Notre-Dame, less European than people think. It created a storm of interest. By lunchtime, I had been contacted by Middle East Eye and by Ashaq al-Awsat, asking if they could reblog the piece on their websites. Within the next few days, the blog was published by AFP, the acronym for Agence France Presse Beirut, and ended up being translated.